Right. I'm going to pick back up on the Abraham Lincoln, Haiti, and Liberia recognition of 1862. I believe the former video is just Abraham Lincoln and Haiti in 1862. I do not care for that video. That's number one. I just looked at that video, and a lot of the videos I'm doing, in keeping with the original video, the first video we did, is chronicling the path of my graduate studies. And I have narrowed what will be my dissertation. It will be 1862, the recognition of Haiti and Liberia by Abraham Lincoln. And it aligns the Civil War politics with this recognition and centers colonization as the main point of this recognition of Haiti and Liberia. Abraham Lincoln, in his address to Congress on December 3rd of 1861, suddenly, after 58 years of Haiti being an independent nation and 15 to 20 years of Liberia being an independent nation, suddenly these two black nations were recognized by the most racist country in the world, being the most racist country in the world because the United States specifically removed the humanity from the slaves, which has not happened in human history. So that's why it's the most racist country in the world. Number one. During this time, Abraham Lincoln died at 56. And it is taught and proposed that Lincoln had some type of life-changing experience given to him by way of revelation through the Civil War, which is unrealistic. In my proposition, most people do not have life-changing revelations in their mid-50s. You are who you are. So that was the first thing that just didn't resonate. There are primary sources that show that Abraham Lincoln has been in favor of colonization of blacks since the 1850s. And colonization means, again, basically this is a country for white people, built, quote unquote, by white people, for white people. And he just said, let's just get rid of them. Let's just take all the blacks and send them away. There are no primary sources I have found that shows any altruism in any of Lincoln's acts toward black people. But does the honest Abe reputation still hold? Yes. Abraham Lincoln has, in all of the primary sources, he was consistent with how he felt toward black people. He did not like slavery. It just did not appeal to him. So he would rather these people be gone, but to even see this type of immorality bothered him. That doesn't make him an abolitionist, and he always said he wasn't an abolitionist. He functioned with an intent to abrogate the country of all black people into 1865. In fact, he signed an agreement to colonize black people on the island of Haiti on December 31st, 1862. December 31st, 1862. Why is that significant? Because the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect January 1st, 1863. So that meant the Emancipation Proclamation that had already been written, he was still functioning to try to ship black people out of the country. So the night before it went to an effect, which means it was already written, he was doing colonization work that night, trying to get black folks out of the country. And in fact, that went so bad, he ended up having to send for those people and bring them back to the United States. So this was the type of care that they put into where they were sending the people and checking into it. There was work in 1865 before his murder that Lincoln was doing toward colonization. There is, in my finding, no evidence of altruism in Lincoln's acts toward black people. Everything seemed to be out of necessity. Allowing blacks to serve in the military was a strategic move. It wasn't. Allowing someone to die is not a show of equality, in my opinion. Trusting a group of people with guns who have never had a history of violence toward that people, a systematic history of violence. Now, I'm not talking about your Nat Turners of the world and your revolutionaries of the world, because that was the exception and not the rule. That's why people know Nat Turner. But the rule was that no matter what, and that stands still today, no matter what white people have done to black people love white people. Black people want to integrate with white people. Black people have served in every war this country has ever had. So it rings more true that there was a military necessity as opposed to some type of altruism or recognition of equality. There is no primary source that I have come across to support the position that there was any type of revelation on behalf of Lincoln. It is a greater likelihood that people aligned their projects with similarities of Lincoln's work and popularity. Perfect example, a lot of abolitionists align their work with Lincoln. Abolitionists say, well, he must have been an abolitionist because he freed the slaves. Number one, he did not free anyone. Didn't. The 13th Amendment does not abolish slavery. It ensures slavery under particular circumstances. As long as those circumstances can be applied to black people, hence mass incarceration today, these people can be slaves. The word slave is used in the 13th Amendment. So the 13th Amendment did not abolish slavery. If black people were freed, we would not have needed the Civil Rights Bill of 1964. If the Emancipation Proclamation freed slaves, we would not have needed the 13th Amendment. If the 13th Amendment was worth what it was worth, we would not have needed the 14th Amendment. And I think the 14th Amendment was 1867. When was that? 14th Amendment. It's 1868. So if we are freed by the 13th Amendment, at the most, Lincoln never intended for black people to be citizens. because we had to have the 14th Amendment for black people to be alleged citizens. But then we know the 14th Amendment didn't offer equal protection of the law under the law because we had to have the Civil Rights Bill of 1964. So what we're really looking at, what we're unpacking, is what does the real Lincoln look like? What primary sources communicate who Lincoln was? So in this paper, I am looking at reports of colleagues. I'm looking at documentation that he put forward, documentation that he sponsored, contracts on which he entered, that should give us a level of understanding as to who the real Lincoln is, as opposed to the pop culture that has been connected to this archetype of Lincoln, as opposed to the actual person.